All this time.
Alright, we're recording.
Okay. Okay. Often individuals who are creative in one mode seem to have creative skills in other areas. How do you rate yourself in terms of creativity in the fields of art, writing, and music? Tell me, by example, how you use these skills in your job.
One of my passions is photography. My job at Ralph Photo has helped me refine my photography skills. Not only have my picture-taking ability improved, but so has my ability to look for visual balance in images. On many different occasions, the head photographer praised me for my overall creative ability, including the pictures that I've taken, the backgrounds that I've chosen, and how I have arranged photographs in the proof book. The creative abilities I use during photography, I use when creating promotional materials. At Park and Recreation, this was especially useful when I was created many signs for events and classes. I'm able to visualize what is needed to be on the sign and how it should be laid out. When promoting the summer picnic days, I picked a basic theme, stars, to use across all of the signage. When I made the full-size sign to hang up, I noticed that there was a lot of negative space on it, which was between the words and the border. So I darkened some of the stars that were in the background to fill in that space. And then for the half-size flyers, I picked a different star border and reduced information to only be about the picnic that was coming up. The public relations manager I worked with praised my work on the signs and flyers.
Tell me about a time when you were not as successful as you had hoped. What did you learn from it, and what did you learn?
After being very successful in high school, I was looking forward to the rigorous academic challenges that I knew Xavier University would offer me. I believe that my study habits that I had towards my schoolwork in high school would work just as well in college. However, this was not the case. Even though I took many challenging classes in high school, I did not have to actively study to do well in my classes. With my last added towards my score, I still managed to graduate with honors in the top 25% of my class with an overall GPA of a 3.7. During my first semester at Xavier, I continued to approach classes the way I used to, and only achieved about a 2.6. And I was not very happy about that situation, so I worked very hard to improve it. While my study habits improved that next semester, I improved the most during my sophomore year. I started studying for tests days before the actual test. I figured out how I best study, which I write out everything I possibly need to know for the test, and I remember it better for the test. And I also stayed on top of the reading that was required for the classes. Because of the changes I made in my study habits, I earned a 3.75 that first semester of sophomore year, and my only B was a B+ in my chem lab. And I maintained these study habits, and I currently have an overall GPA of a 3.3.
At times, we are all required to deal with difficult people. An even more demanding factor is to be of service to a difficult person. When have you been successful with this type of situation at work?
While working at Peace Celestial Taekwondo, I encountered members of all sorts of moods with a wide range of personalities. There's one instance that's really sticking out in my mind now. It was a week before rank testing, so we were very busy because everybody had to assign their kids over the test. And in between two of our busiest classes, I was trying to help as many people as I could while still being courteous and answering any questions that new members might have. So one of the members needed to renew their membership during this time. Since I had an instructor helping me out, I was willing to take the time aside at that point to go through their membership with them. And if somebody calls ahead and says, hey, I need to renew my membership, whoever answers that call will write the membership out and set it aside so it'll be ready for them to come in. This is one of those instances that I did not write up the membership with them. And there was more to this situation than I knew about coming into it. So I looked over the membership, started to explain it, how it was written, why it was written this way. And the member was just not happy with how it was written, even though it was a very standard membership. When she explained the situation, she explained why it got written the way it was. And while I tried to repeatedly explain to her why it was written this way, and I even tried to explain it in many different not very happy. And at one point, she became so upset that she actually tore up the membership and tossed it in my general direction. It wasn't like a big throw at me, but it still tossed at me. And at this point, I knew that there was nothing more I could do to make her happy. So I told her that I would talk to my manager and see what we could do. Even though I was not happy about the situation, I still had to help her out because she needs to register her kids for testing. When I talked to the manager at the end of the night, I was told that I handled the situation in the best way possible. And the next day, after the manager had called the member, she came back in and apologized to me for her attitude.
Well, why should I have to use the pet?
Because it's displayed throughout the interview and meets the requirements for the job, as well as embody the characteristics that pets value. I have demonstrated my successful communication skills, my wide array of experience and promotions, and my willingness to work in teams. I believe that my passion for promotional activities has been evident throughout the whole interview. My ability to complete work on time and on strategy is shown in both my school and work experience. I am dedicated to creating successful creative promotional strategies. And based on all of this, I believe that I am the ideal candidate for this position.
Any other questions for me?
I'm wondering how you see the digital revolution maintained in marketing.